Pamela Voorhees killed 9 people in Friday the 13th, 5 guys and 4 girls. She herself was killed by Alice, bringing the total kill count to 10, evenly split among genders, plus 1 poor innocent snake. At a runtime of 95 minutes, that comes out to 1 human death about every 10 minutes. Jason kills 9 people in Friday the 13th Part 2, 5 guys and 4 girls. Same as his mama did, but since he doesn't die in the end of this one, the film's total kill count is only 9, the lowest of the series. And with its 87-minute runtime, that leaves 1 human death every 9.6 minutes. Jason kills 12 people in Friday the 13th Part 3, 7 guys and 5 girls. That's 2 more people than in Part 1, meaning this movie has the highest kill count of the series so far. At a runtime of 95 minutes, that's a kill less than every 8 minutes, which is also a bit more frequent than Parts 1 and 2. Jason kills 13 people in Friday the 13th, the final chapter, 7 girls and 6 guys. He's in turn killed by Tommy, giving us a grand total of 14 deaths in this movie, evenly split among genders. At a runtime of 91 minutes, that's a death on average every 6.5 minutes, the current kill frequency champion. There were 22 deaths in Friday the 13th: A New Beginning, although not all were from the Jason imitator Roy Burns. 2 were from Jason himself in a dream sequence, 1 was from Scary Vic, and Dream Pam was killed by Dreamy Tommy. Gender breakdown is 15 guys, 7 girls, much more imbalanced than the previous 4 films, and with a runtime of 90 minutes, that's a kill every 4 minutes on average. Damn. Jason kills 18 people in Friday the 13th Part 6, twice the number of his initial outing in Part 2, so guys come a long way. His Vicks include 12 guys and 6 girls, a gender imbalance of 2 to 1, which kinda goes along with the whole 80s action style of the film. At 85 minutes long, that comes out to a kill every 4.72 minutes, so that should keep you entertained as you search in vain for TNA. 16 people die in The New Blood, Tina's dad and Jason's 15 victims, and the gender distribution was split equally with 8 guys and 8 girls. At 85 minutes long, that comes out to a kill about every 5 minutes. 20 people die in Jason Takes Manhattan, 18 of them from Jason and 2 of them from accidents, although Wayne would definitely go to prison for that shit. 15 of the victims are male, with only 5 of them female, the biggest gender imbalance of victims in one of these films yet. At an unreasonable runtime of 100 minutes, we come out to a death on average every 5 minutes, which is on the quicker side for the series. This one's kind of difficult to quantify, what with the possessions and the different versions, but I'm gonna go ahead and say that 24 kills happened, including Jason himself twice. 7 of the victims were girls and 17 of them guys, a pretty damn imbalanced gender ratio. The unrated version runs 90 minutes long, so that's a kill on average every 3.75 minutes, making this the entry with the most frequent kills in the series so far. This one's another messy entry with all the VR kills and that entire fucking city exploding, but by my count there were 25 kills in the movie. Only 7 of them were women, with 18 of them guys, meaning this movie's second only to Manhattan for the most imbalanced Vic list. At 91 minutes long, we get a kill on average every 3.64 minutes, edging out Goes to Hell for the title of most frequent kills in the series. I counted 22 deaths in this movie. Jason secured 19 of them and Freddy only had 2, with Laura nabbing the ultimate kill of Freddy himself. In a series low, only 4 of the victims were women, meaning 18 were male, giving us the new most imbalanced gender breakdown of the series, edging out Manhattan's 75-25 split. With a runtime of 97 minutes, we got a kill on average every 4.4 minutes, although that figure is definitely inflated by the Raver Massacre. In this movie, 14 people died, meaning 13 Jason victims and 1 Pamela Voorhees. The writers intentionally put 13 victims in there because, symbolism or whatever. 9 of the victims were male, meaning 5 were female, giving us an almost 2 to 1 imbalance. Remember back when men and women died equally in these movies? The extended killer cut that I watched was the longest film in the series, coming in at a whopping 105 minutes, meaning we only got a kill on average every 7.5 minutes, which is a bit of brake pumping after the last 3 films went crazy. 7 people died in Scream, kinda low for a slasher, but this was more about the whodunit anyway. Of the victims, 5 were guys and only 2 were girls, a more than 2 to 1 gender imbalance. With a runtime of 111 minutes, we only had a kill on average every 15.8 minutes, but at least you got to hear a bunch of horror references during all that downtime. 10 people died in Scream 2, 3 more than in the original, so I guess that rule about higher body counts held true. 6 of the victims were male and 4 of them female, giving us a bit more balanced gender distribution than in Scream 1. With a runtime of 2 hours flat, we got a kill on average every 12 minutes, which is also a bit more frequent than in the original. Just like in Scream 2, 10 people died in this movie, but all the kills seemed way less graphic than in the original 2. 6 of the victims were male and 4 were female, the same gender split as in Scream 2. And with a runtime of 116 minutes, there was a kill on average every 11.6 minutes, the most frequent in the series so far. 15 people died in Scream 4, significantly more than any of the original trilogy, even though 3 of the kills were fictional characters. In a kill count first, more women were killed than men, with 10 of the victims female and only 5 of them male. A pretty stark gender imbalance, though again, 3 of those were in-movie characters. With a runtime of 110 minutes, Scream 4 had a kill on average every 7.3 minutes, by far the most frequent of the series. 12 humans for sure died in The Thing, and since there's not a single woman in the whole movie, this gives us our first kill count with the victims 100% one gender. At a runtime of 108 minutes, that's a known character killed on average every 9 minutes flat. 8 people die in Night of the Living Dead, basically every named character. The victims included 4 females and 4 males, an even 50-50 split between genders. At a runtime of 96 minutes, that comes out to a kill on average every 12 minutes flat. Gets a little tricky, what with the sunken place and all, but I'm gonna say 7 people died in Get Out. My apologies to whoever was chilling inside Grandma and Grandpa Armitage. Of those 7 victims, 4 were male and 3 were female, a nearly even split between genders. At a runtime of 104 minutes, that comes out to a kill on average almost every 15 minutes, even though in actuality there weren't any kills until the last 20 minutes of the film. If you count both Charles Lee Ray and Chucky as separate deaths, then 6 people die in this movie. Pretty low for a slasher, but that's okay, Chucky's just getting started. Of the victims, 5 were men and only 1 was a woman, so there was a pretty stark gender imbalance going on. With a runtime of 87 minutes, we wound up with a kill on average every 14.5 minutes, and they were actually spaced apart pretty evenly. Counting Chucky, 8 people die in Child's Play 2, which is 2 more than in the original. Of those 8, 5 of the victims were male and 3 were female, a more even gender distribution than we had last time. At a runtime of 83 minutes, that comes out to a kill on average every 10.38 minutes, a bit quicker than in Child's Play 1. There were 9 deaths in Stephen King's It, which is 9 more than some of you expected, because I guess you really don't know this story. Of the victims, 1 was a little girl, 7 were males of various ages, and the last was a giant evil demon spider clown thing. Yeah. That's a weird breakdown when it comes to gender, so, you know, whatever. At a runtime of an insane 3 hours and 7 minutes, that comes out to a kill on average about every 20 minutes. Just like in the previous film, 8 people died in Child's Play 3. Unlike either of its predecessors though, all the victims in this movie were male, giving us one of those rare instances of a vic list consisting entirely of one gender. At a runtime of 89 minutes, that leaves us with a kill on average about every 11 minutes. More than doubling the body count of the original movie, Bride of Chucky features 14 kills. Of the victims, 10 were male while only 4 were female, a more than 2-to-1 gender imbalance. With a runtime of 88 minutes, that comes out to a kill on average every 6.29 minutes, the most frequent in the series so far. 14 people die in Seed of Chucky, tying Bride for the most victims in a Chucky movie. Of the 14, 9 were male while 5 were female, a slightly more even gender distribution than Bride. At a runtime of 86 minutes, that's a kill on average every 6.14 minutes, just edging out Bride for the most frequent in the series. 10 people die in Curse of Chucky, less than the Tilly movies, but still more than the original trilogy. Of the victims, 6 were guys and 4 were gals, and for once, Chucky's not included on that list. With a runtime of 96 minutes, the longest in the series, that comes out to a kill on average every 9.6 minutes. 9 people died in Cult of Chucky, which is plenty. Quit bitching that it wasn't enough, people. Of the victims, 5 were men and 4 were women, a near even split between genders. With a runtime of 91 minutes, that comes out to a kill on average about every 10 minutes, even though 2/3 of them happened in the last 16 minutes of the movie. Fuck you, Chucky. 15 people die in You're Next, literally every single character in the movie besides Aaron, who actually claimed half the kills. Of the victims, 10 were men and 5 were women, meaning twice as many dudes got killed as ladies. With a runtime of 94 minutes, we wound up with a kill on average every 6.27 minutes, a pretty speedy rate. 34 people die in The Mist, by far the highest count we've had so far in a kill count. Of the victims, 21 were male, 9 were female, and 4 were little cocoon corpses that you just can't really tell. Either way, a lot of dude deaths as per usual. With a runtime of 126 minutes, that comes out to a kill on average every 3.71 minutes, which is like, wow, you crazy Mist. 27 people were killed in Trick or Treat, maybe. Real hard to tell around that bonfire. Of the 27 I counted, only 4 were female, 16 were male, and the 7 kids besides Dracula were unverified either way. Regardless, pretty imbalanced distribution there. At a lean runtime of 82 minutes, we wound up with a kill on average every 3.04 minutes, a new kill count record. Happy Halloween! 5 people and an android died in Alien, tying Child's Play for our lowest kill count to date. Of the victims, 4 were human men, 1 was a human woman, and Ash was a douchey android. That's, you know, this ratio, whatever. At a runtime of 117 minutes, that comes out to a kill on average every 19.5 minutes. I believe our slowest rate yet. Correct me if I'm wrong. By my count, 15 humans died in Aliens. 10 of them were male and 5 were female, meaning there was a 2-to-1 ratio of dudes to ladies dying. With the theatrical cut's runtime of 137 minutes, that comes out to a kill on average every 9.13 minutes. 29 people died in Alien 3, as well as a Rottweiler, not a Doberman. The human victims include the only 2 female characters, Newt and Ripley, with the other 27 male, giving us a very imbalanced gender distribution. At a runtime of 115 minutes, that comes out to a kill, on average, less than every 4 minutes, a much quicker pace for this series than before. 1 shitty turkey and 10 humans died in Thanksgiving. The humans were 7 guys and 3 gals, so more than 2 to 1 dudes. With a poultry runtime of 67 minutes, that's a human death on average every 6.7 minutes. By my count, 30 humans died in Alien Resurrection, the most of the original series. Hillard and one of the chestburster victims from the Betty were the only women I saw, with the rest of the victims being men, but it's hard to know with some of those group deaths. Resurrection also had the shortest runtime of the series at 109 minutes, so that gives it a kill on average every 3.63 minutes, which is also the most frequent of the series. 10 people die in Jack Frost, and they're the lucky ones, since they didn't have to watch this movie. The victims consisted of 8 men and only 2 women, one of whom was seriously violated in the process, giving us a 4-to-1 gender ratio in the kills. At a runtime of 90 minutes, which felt like an eternity, that's a kill on average every 9 minutes. 33 people died in Jack Frost 2, I guess. My list of victims includes 19 men and 14 women, which is one of the more balanced gender ratios we've seen in a while. At a runtime of 93 minutes, that's a kill on average every 2.82 minutes, which, yeah, that's a new record. 7 people died in Black Christmas, which I believe is around the average amount for a slasher. Of the victims, the first 5 were women, and only the last 2 were men, giving us the first movie since Scream 4 with more female than male victims. At a runtime of 98 minutes, that comes out to a kill on average every 14 minutes flat. 18 people died in the Black Christmas remake, which is 11 more than in the original. Not bad. The victims included 7 men and 11 women, giving us more female than male victims again, just like the original. At a runtime of 92 minutes, that comes out to a kill, on average, about every 5 minutes. 12 people were captured in Krampus, more captures than we've ever counted before. Of those captured, 4 were male and 8 were female, an unheard of 2-to-1 ratio in favor of the ladies. With a runtime of 97 minutes, that winds up being a capture, on average, about every 8 minutes. Only 6 people died in New Year's Evil, meaning this is the way our year ends, not with a bang, but a whimper. The victims consisted of 4 women and 2 men, giving us our 4th movie in a row with more female victims. Interesting. With a runtime of 86 minutes, we wound up with a kill on average every 14.33 minutes.